hot here for a second.
On North Street in Peoria, Illinois, sits Peoria High School, which today plays host to a Saturday afternoon Big 12 battle. Today, the 2-1 Bloomington Purple Raiders have come to town to take on the 6-0 Peoria Lions, ranked third in the state of Illinois. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Interstate 74, we welcome you inside Peoria High School's small gym. Joey Wright with Larry Larson. Larry, Peoria enters this one, as we said, third in the state of Illinois, a perfect 6-0. A Bloomington team that has lost a couple of starters, a lot of firepower. They're 2-1. What kind of game do you think we'll see this afternoon?
Well, Joey, I mean, whenever you get a top 10 team in the state, it's going to be hard to beat them, especially if the other team is not ranked or at that caliber. Bloomington, as you mentioned, enters this one 2-1. So they picked up a number of wins so far this season, but the Lions this year have just been a buzzsaw that nobody has been able to run through. They're 6-0 with a point differential of 187. 187. They have not played a close game this year.
They certainly haven't. The closest game they've played was the first game of the season, a 65-48 winner against Moline. We saw them against Richwood shortly thereafter. They looked good. A young but experienced squad. And, Larry, they return a lot of firepower from a team that did good things last year, first regional title under head coach Michi Edwards. A lot of newcomers as well. Who are we looking at for the Lions? We'll get to the Purple Raiders in just a second.
Well, I mean, you could go any number of directions here, Joey. Denali Craig Edwards is a name that jumps out to me. She started as a freshman last year, the 6-foot sophomore forward. Can play like a guard, can play like a forward. She's got the range outside. We've seen her hit deep threes time and time again, but she's also got a lot of great post moves. And, of course, Aaliyah Guyton, a name that has generated a ton of buzz around the Peoria area. 5'6" freshman guard is a complete stud.
And for Bloomington, and we'll certainly keep an eye on those players for Peoria, Guyton among them. Bloomington has lost, it's a different case. Lauren Strange, their best player, Larry, has gone down with an injury, injured in the Danville game. But in talking with head coach Austin Myers before this one, you look at players like Marissa Hilt, Katie Barger, some of the other starters are expected to step up in a big way this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right, Joey. And Marissa Hilt is a player that head coach Austin Myers told us is going to jump out off the page to us. Hilt, the 5'11 junior forward, is probably the best player on the team right now that Strange is injured and out for the season. But Hilt, a good athlete, can likely play at the next level, so we'll see what she can do today against the tough line squad.
We'll get you the starting lineups in a minute, and it really is a shame that Lauren Strange has gone down for Bloomington. Was talking with Austin Myers before the game, told me that he thinks so highly of her as a player and as a person. That's why she's still listed on the roster, kind of riding through the motions of her senior year, not on the floor. But yeah, Marissa Hilt, Maddie McSwain, some of the other players for Bloomington expected to step up this afternoon. We'll go ahead and give you our starting lineups here as we are about 2.5 minutes removed from, or on the other side of the national anthem. We'll get to that in just a second. For the visiting Purple Raiders, it looks like this. It'll be number 3, Katie Barger, a 5'8 sophomore guard. Saw her brother play for the Purple Raiders boys team last night at Manual Academy. Marissa Hilt, the 5'11 junior forward, number 12 in purple this evening. Maddie McSwain, the 5'10 senior forward, number 22. Marley Davis is number 23. She is a 5'3 sophomore guard. And Francesca Smith rounds out the starting lineup for Bloomington. Number 24, the 5'8 senior guard. And for Peoria, their starting lineup will look like this. Sanaya Tutt, the 5'5 senior guard, number 2 in white this afternoon. Aaliyah Guyton, the 5'6 freshman guard, mentioned her a couple of minutes ago, player to watch. D'Amber Smith, number 5 for the Lions, a 5'4 junior guard. Denali Craig Edwards, another player that Larry mentioned, 6 foot she stands at, sophomore forward, number 10. And Paris Wilson, 5'10 junior, number 11. Those are the starting 10 this afternoon.
Joey, a lot of talent on both these squads, but I'm really excited to watch these Peoria Lions. Anytime we're here at Peoria High or anywhere else watching them play, they put on a show. They do not disappoint. And this talent up and down the roster, it goes beyond the starting lineup even.
About a minute 15 to the national anthem. And Larry, you mentioned they have not played a close game this season. They looked really good against Richwoods when we saw them a couple of weeks ago. They would be the favorites by a good bit in this one. You know, of course, you never know what Bloomington will have, and they could very well keep it close. But what kind of game do you expect to see? And in fact, we'll get to that in just a minute. Looks like they're going to start the anthem a little early.
It won't take very long, I promise.
Well, it sounds like they're going to sanitize the gym, Joey. That's a new one. I don't know if we have to leave the gym.
Interesting development here.
All right, well, I suppose we'll find out as everybody leaves around us. I think we'll probably have to step out.
Looks that way, doesn't it?
I suppose so. Well, I guess we'll step aside for a few minutes.
Yeah, I suppose we will. Right? I mean, unless, well, I mean, everyone else is left, so we're gonna leave too. You know what?
Right,
we're gonna be nice.
We'll be right back on Clutch Sports Media.
We welcome you back into Peoria High School. Joey Wright and Larry Larson in with you.
What
a crazy turn of events there, Larry, and we'll have to adjust our scoreboard camera. And the evacuation, I knocked it loose.
That might be a little extreme. Evacuation.
We call it that. They told us just a moment ago to clear the gym for sanitation, and we're back to action now and getting ready to go. There won't be an anthem here, so we'll get going in just a second. You see something new every day. It's been an unorthodox year, to say the least.
Yeah, no kidding, Joey. And you'd think that if they're going to sanitize the gym, they'd do it well before tip-off.
You would think, right?
But I suppose not. That's a first, man. You see something new every day.
I guess that serves as our national anthem break, and we won't have an anthem, so we will get right into the lineups. We gave them to you on the other side of that break. We'll give them to you again. First, the Bloomington Purple Raiders being introduced. Katie Barger, Marissa Hill, Maddie McSwain, Marley Davis, and Francesca Smith is how the Purple Raiders lineup shakes out. Keep an eye on Marissa Hill, the 5'11 junior forward. Katie Barger as well. Maddie McSwain, Dave, really the whole lineup for Bloomington expected to play a role in this one for Peoria, 6-0 and third in the state of Illinois, 3A class entering this one. Sanaya Tutt, Aaliyah Guyton, DeAmber Smith, Denali Craig Edwards, and Paris Wilson. Starting five for head coach Michi Edwards, and Austin Myers is the head coach of Bloomington.
Yeah, Joey, like we said earlier, this Peoria team is just so much fun to watch, and I'm sure those tuned in today on ClutchSportsIL.com won't be disappointed.
They certainly won't be. Paris Wilson being introduced as part of the Lions lineup. Two schools that, if you go off the enrollment listed, off by just 6.
Wow.
1380 for Bloomington and 1374 for Peoria. Very similar schools in that regard. Peoria entering this one, and again, Larry, it's what we talked about at the top of the show. They haven't played any close games. They are averaging 68 points per game on offense and only allowing 37. Bloomington's still in the positive in that area, too. They average 56 and give up 50 a game if you average out their 3 games. But Peoria, just a 187-point differential in 6 games. Unreal.
Yeah, it really is impressive, Joey. And a lot of people were talking when the rankings came out. They said they should be ranked number 1, just how they've played and how dominant they've been.
See if they can dominate Bloomington. They get the opening tip-off, the steal, Sanaya Tutt, and we call it a tip-off. Every game in the IHSA this season, of course, beginning with an inbound. Sanaya Tutt picked up the steal. Barger gets it back for Bloomington, and we're underway in Peoria. So Bloomington, good defense there to get it right back. It's Smith in trouble, is able to get it off to Barger. And Tutt will come out to defend Barger. Opening possession for Bloomington. Smith tries the teardropper, no dice. And the rebound hauled in by Smith for Peoria, and up the Lions go, intended for Guyton. Guyton gets it on a tip from Barger, and the pass to Tutt, tipped by Hilt. It'll stay with Peoria.
Joey, I'd like to point out to our viewers and listeners at home, you'll have a great sound experience today. Our floor mic is quite literally almost on the floor.
It's in the first row of the bleachers. Off the mark was a 3 from Wilson, but how about the rebound from Craig Edwards? No, gets her own rebound. That's blocked. Nice defensive play from Hilt, Larry. Marissa Hilt has been active. It'll stay with Peoria, but she's had her hand on a lot of plays early on.
Yeah, that's right, Joey, and that's what you come to expect. She's going to be in the middle of everything today, especially the rebounding game, is probably the tallest player on the floor.
Aaliyah Guyton the inbound, and right on cue it is Craig Edwards. Denali Craig Edwards right there in the paint, drops it in. And here's a steal. Denali Craig Edwards, fast break opportunity. Little too strong off the glass, and Barger the rebound. Now it's Smith. Smith will drop it in. Bloomington ties it up at 2.
That's what you need to do, Joey. Sorry to cut you off there, but in a quick-paced game, you got to score quick.
Well, that's reflective of the pace. Peoria really pushing it early. Here's Guyton, teardropper no, rebound Barger. And that's something that Austin Myers told us, Larry, before this one, is he's going to do his best, the head coach for Bloomington, to control the pace and not let Peoria run and gun like they like to.
Yeah, whenever you can get a team out of their tempo, a little uncomfortable, you know, possibly play the half-court set, you got a good chance to throw them off.
Peoria the opportunity from Smith. That's DeAmber Smith. Good defense from Bloomington. They got back in time. Feed down low to Hilt. Hilt is blocked by Denali Craig Edwards, and the Lions will run it. And they'll slow it down a little bit here, it looks like.
Yeah, Joey, I don't envy anybody who has to go up against Craig Edwards in the paint. She's a wall.
That she is, and she's got it now on the perimeter, playing catch with Sanaya Tutt. Tutt, a returner from last season, as is Craig Edwards. And that'll be a quick timeout for Michi Edwards in Peoria. But as I was saying about Denali Craig Edwards, a freshman starter last season. And a quick 30-second timeout for Michi Edwards here.
Yeah, Joey, I was a little surprised to see this timeout so early, but at the same time, I think he's going over the half-court defense, half-court offense sets. You know, maybe he didn't like what he saw out of that, first few minutes stretch when the game did slow down into the half court. And, we've seen it early. The Lions are very comfortable when they're running it in transition. So we'll see what they can come up with off the sidelines inbounds pass.
And that has to be the key for Bloomington, right, is control the pace early. If
100%.
they can keep this game slow, they've got at least a chance.
Certainly.
3 from Denali Craig Edwards and
in.
in.
Wow.
Denali Craig Edwards shows the range. Talked about her ability to down low. Big 3 there for 10 and white.
She dialed it up from way downtown.
Francesca Smith swatted away by Peoria. And Guyton will run it. She'll take a free throw, drops it in. Aaliyah Guyton with 2 points now and a 5-point lead for the Lions.
Mid-range game, a bit of a lost art for many players, but not Aaliyah Guyton.
So now here's Hilt for Bloomington. Largest lead of the game, still early for Peoria. And Smith looked for Hilt. And an errant pass. They'll say that was last touched by Francesca Smith, Bloomington's 5'8" senior guard. Peoria inbounds, and right away they're taking it into the offensive end. Tutt looked at the 3, didn't take it. Traveled. It was a good look. It didn't go in, but that's the kind of shot you would expect to see from Tutt.
Yeah, Joey. For Peoria High, they're either going to take a lot of high percentage looks on the inside, penetrate the paint, or shoot the 3. And frankly, they do both very well.
Marley Davis up for Bloomington. Davis had her shot not blocked, but adjusted by Peoria, shall we say. Francesca Smith up top. She'll put it on the floor. Now back in a 2. Maddie McSwain says hello.
That's a good look, Joey. The drive and kick. I'm sure the Lions defense is going to be pretty focused on Hilt and Smith, but Smith drove, found the open player.
Guyton to the corner to an open Smith, and DeAmber Smith answers the call. Puts the Lions back ahead by 6, or I should say ahead by 6 for the first time today. That's going to be their largest lead of the first 3 minutes or so, 4 minutes now. Down low to Marissa Hilt. Hilt, nice move on Tutt, on Craig Edwards. And that's about as good as you can hope to get a shot up on Craig Edwards, right?
100%, Joey. You're going to have to turn away from the basket a lot rather than towards it.
Denali Craig Edwards stops and pops. Can't answer, though, on the offensive end. Next dead ball ought to be our first mask timeout of the game. Until then, it's Barger looking and finding Smith. Smith, the teardropper, in and out. And a rebound hauled in by Guyton. So Guyton will take it ahead. And she will pull up for a deep 3, and got it. Aaliyah Guyton the 3. Lions go ahead by 7. And Larry, the Lions, what has stood out to me here first couple of minutes, they're showing the range. Steal from Tutt and a foul.
Yeah, Joey, their range is largely unlimited for a high school team. And, a lot of the times you don't see those deep 3s in high school basketball. Sometimes you'll see them in garbage time and players trying to really show off. But for the Lions, that's pretty standard, those deep 3s. And then, if you drive out to guard them on the deep 3, then they can drive right past you because they're so quick.
Exactly what I was about to say. When you've got players like Denali Craig Edwards and Guyton and really everyone on the team can score down low, opens things up from the perimeter. And the Lions are showing that here early on. 13-6 at our first mask timeout of the game. 3:16 showing in our first quarter. Guyton and Craig Edwards have 5 for Peoria. A couple of players with 2 for Bloomington. Among them, Marissa Hilt Maddie McSwain, and Francesca Smith. And those are the only 3 players that have 2 because they have 6.
Good math, Joe. Good math. Math class on a Saturday afternoon.
Yes. No, thank you. Matt Harrington is on our computer this afternoon. Joey Wright and Larry Larson in with you, a Saturday edition of Big 12 basketball.
Saturday matinee, and you'll see here on the bottom of our screen some scores from around the area, some finals, and some other games coming up later this afternoon or evening. Joey, it's been a packed day of basketball around the area. So many options, and so it's always hard to choose games, but you know, whenever we see the Lions on the schedule, they're hard to pick against.
Lions and Purple Raiders going at it. A lot of good ones around the area, though, this afternoon. Game of the day may well go down as Metamora and Morton, the Redbirds with the big boys basketball win at the buzzer. Manual and Peoria Notre Dame coming up later this evening.
Yeah,
so
possibly the game of the year in the Big 12 there.
Be a fun one to watch. Guyton's 3 just a little bit short. And up goes Marley Davis. Davis to Katie Barger. And Barger to an open McSwain, and McSwain's 3 is in. Maddie McSwain has knocked in a couple of big ones, now has 5. Barger, the near steal, keeps it in bounds, but Peoria recovers, and they'll try to recover the offense. Bloomington's defense looks really good here, Larry, and they'll force the travel.
Joey, watching the sideline and Austin Myers, you told me that he said that he's a pretty intense guy. You can tell he's a little toned back today, but he's animated, man. He's fired up. His team is right there right now.
They need to take advantage while they still can. Strike while the iron is hot, and there will be a timeout called by Bloomington. So right on cue, Austin Myers takes the timeout. And Larry, we can see him. He's saying, looks like slow down, calm down. He's using his hands. If Bloomington's going to take advantage here early, they've got to keep their composure. They've got to stay the course.
Yeah, that's right, Joey. And they've been playing well these last few minutes, and a lot of it during a basketball game on the mental side of things has to do with not getting too high and not getting too low. If you get down, you allow a run. You can't let your defense or dictate your offense. You can't let your offense dictate your defense especially. And right now, the Raiders are doing a good job of staying right in the middle. They're on this run right now, but you can tell they're very focused.
Down 4 early, but against a Peoria team, as we say, they have to take advantage while they still can. Goes to Davis, and Davis to McSwain. McSwain off the bank, and Maddie McSwain with 7 points, keying the Bloomington offense early. Now here's Guyton for Peoria. She'll go across the floor looking for Alana Jackson, who is fresh into the game for Peoria. Goes back to Guyton. Her 3 is on the way and in.
Man.
Guyton, a big 3, her second of the afternoon, now has 8 points. The Lions back ahead by 5.
Joey, that is big because that stops a lot of the momentum that the Purple Raiders had.
McSwain, deep 2, and she converts. Maddie McSwain having a great game early on, now up to 9. And Larry, early on, it looked like Peoria might have been on a big run. She answered with the 3 and had a couple of nice plays. Guyton, teardropper.
Jeez.
Say yes.
Joey, it's a shooting clinic right now. Inside, outside, you name it. These guards are stroking it.
High scoring affair. And here's Barger. Barger to Smith. They're going to bring the trap. Peoria's going to make it tough for them to get across the court, or the timeline, I should say. They do, and the 3 off from Davis. Out of bounds, off of Peoria. So Larry, what are you dialing up here on the inbound play? You looking for the 3? I mean, what do you?
Well, I think
best available
you set
shot.
some screens around the perimeter and try and get a look inside or at the baseline on the mid-range.
They'll go to Barger. Barger on the inbound pass, floated it up, but the rebound, Marissa Hilt, she cleans it up.
That's what you want, a good look inside. Not many defenders in front of you. Second chance bucket. Nothing like that to spark some momentum.
Here's Tutt for Peoria to Guyton, and now to Paris Wilson, back to Guyton. Guyton is guarded by Francesca Smith. She'll slow it down.
Joey, I would not be surprised to see the Lions hold for the rest of the quarter. I think that may be in their best interest because you listen, you can hear the Bloomington bench right now. They have all sorts of life.
Them and us, about the only ones in this gym making noise. Now Peoria will set the offense in motion. a little bit. They'll still hold it. It's Tutt with the ball, dribbling it out. We are inside of 25 seconds to play. Barger is the closest defender. And we're at 13 seconds.
Joey, look for a shot from Craig Edwards, maybe on the pick and roll.
Here we go. Here goes Tutt. Tutt's going to try to take it herself. She does. 5 seconds left. Bloomington has to hurry to get it in. It's Barger as the clock goes to zeros and her buzzer beater wide right. And that's how the first quarter of play will end. Peoria leading 20-15. A good first quarter for Bloomington, though.
Joey, I am impressed with how the Purple Raiders played in that first half, especially Maddie McSwain, looking dialed from anywhere she shot on the floor. And on the other side of things, of course, the Lions, they're still ahead by 5. You know, we're talking a lot about the Purple Raiders' performance, but, of course, not to ignore the home team. Michi Edwards coaching the squad up in the huddle right now. I bet he's probably not happy about that first quarter performance, but Lions, albeit still ahead by 5. And we saw some great shooting from them. Craig Edwards and Guyton lighting it up early.
Guyton with 10 points. She will start the second quarter on the bench for Peoria. Their 5 is Aaliyah Spratling, joined by DeAmber Smith. Jakaya Jordan is on the floor, along with Jenna Beck and Miracle Thomas. First we've called her name tonight. Get you Bloomington's 5 in just a second. Looks like they've got the starting lineup out with the exception of Allison Ortiz, who is in for Marley Davis. Peoria swinging it around. It'll go to Beck for an open 3 and in. Jenna Beck converts.
Joey, she's such a huge piece off the bench for Michi Edwards. You're going to see her shooting inside and out.
First series off the bench for her ends in a 3. That possession ends in a turnover for Bloomington. So the Lions will take it across with Spratling. Spratling to Beck. Does she have 2 in a row? She does. 2 pure strokes, and the Lions have a double-digit lead.
Beck's getting hot early, and you always love to have a player like that come off the bench and be able to hit some shots.
And that'll be a 10-second call. Barger couldn't get it up in time. Larry Peoria's been knocking on the door, getting that call a couple times, bringing the press, and finally it pays off.
A trademark of any Peoria High basketball team, full court defense.
E.G. Edwards says move it. The offense will set. Well, it tried to go into motion. Spratling lost it. Jump ball. That'll go to Bloomington.
Good defensive possession for the Purple Raiders. And, Joey, we talked about how it was a close first quarter. All of a sudden, the Lions with an 11-point lead. That's where it all starts for the Purple Raiders, is getting just one defensive stop. That's all you need. Go down and get a bucket.
We'll see if the Purple Raiders have that answer. Floating it up, not putting it in, is Smith. And Beck the rebound. Her last 2 shots have both ended in 3s. Third is on the way. That'll be short. Rebounded by Hilt. And the Raiders take it across. They will look for McSwain. McSwain is off. And a foul on the floor on the rebound. I think it'll go against Bloomington. We'll see. And nope, it'll be against Peoria's Beck. So that's going to be Beck's first. And the team's first as well. It's been a pretty clean half, Larry. We've only got 2 fouls.
It's gone by quick.
To Ortiz in the corner, her corner 3. Just off, kilter to the right, and here's a look for Peoria, taking it up and taking it in. Say hello to Miracle Thomas.
Another great piece off the bench. This roster has so much depth.
Miracle Thomas has her first points of the game. Peoria forces a turnover, and they'll capitalize. Jakaya Jordan, the freshman, with a big basket there. And just like that, Larry, Peoria on a bit of a run. They've doubled up Bloomington. Bloomington has yet to score in the opening 2 minutes of the quarter.
I want to know what Michi Edwards said in the huddle between quarters there, because whatever it was, it has worked, and then some.
Score some points, right?
Yeah.
3 on the way for Peoria. Couldn't score some more
stops
right there. Yeah. Probably get back to the basics, do the simple things, right? They've done that. There's a rebound from Spratling, and Spratling, should check that. I don't know if she got the rebound, but she got the deflection. Put it in just the same.
But, Joey, I want to make a point here. That run to start the quarter for the Lions, that was all done by players coming off the bench. 5. None of the starting 5 played in that first few minute stretch of that second quarter. And that says a lot about this team, how deep it is. If 1 or 2 players are off from the starting lineup, then Michi has no problem going to the bench and pulling a few off the bench.
12-0 run in the second quarter for the Lions. And Larry, as you said, those points coming from the likes of Aaliyah Spratling up off the bench. Miracle Thomas coming in off the bench. Jenna Beck, of course, the 2 big threes, and Jakaya Jordan, the 2 there a moment ago. And we've seen largely the starting 5 for Bloomington thus far. Allison Ortiz came in for a little bit and played some good minutes, missed a 3. She will return to the bench. Marley Davis comes back into the game. But a tale of 2 styles. Bloomington really rolling with that core 5, core 6. Peoria rotating them in at will.
Yeah, Joey, you can't say enough about what it means to have a deep bench and how much that benefits the team to have a few Energizer bunnies coming off the bench. And I think Jenna Beck is one of them. And Miracle Thomas is another. Because those 2, senior and junior, usually those experienced players are in the starting lineup. You got them coming off the bench. That's all the more power to you.
Foul that time. The first free throw is in from Hill, was assessed to Jakaya Jordan, her first and the team's second. Beck, you mentioned a moment ago, the senior has the other foul for the Lions. And Bloomington on the scoreboard for the first time in the second quarter. Now makes it a 15-point game. But if you're just joining us, that 15 points a little deceiving. It was 20-15 at the end of 1. And Larry, Bloomington might have the chance to start a new run here. Up we go with Hill. Hill takes it up, a little too strong, and the rebound for DeAmber Smith.
Well, Hill did a nice job beating the defense up the floor, but you got to finish.
DeAmber Smith, number 5 for Peoria, who's just got that rebound and who just got the pass, is the lone starter in the game right now for the Lions. Spratling feeding down low to Jordan. Jordan back out to Smith, and the starter will take the 3. Didn't get anything on that, though, on the rebound. Out of bounds to Bloomington. Yeah, and that'll be the media timeout.
Media timeout, mask timeout, Clutch Sports media timeout, whatever you want to call it. But we've hit it here in the second quarter. And, Joey, the narrative has shifted a little bit. After our last break, we were talking about all the momentum that the Raiders had. Although they were losing by 5 points, they played very well. And now I think they're getting a little gassed because they don't have as much depth off the bench as the Peoria Lions do. So it's going to be tough for them, but they got to dig deep. And this juncture in the game, the next 4 minutes and 42 seconds, is going to be so critical. If the Raiders can pick up a few defensive stops and pick up even just a few buckets and hold the Lions below 40 points, they'll be in good shape going into the half. You catch your wind, catch your breath, rest up your starters, and then you can come out with some fresh legs in the third quarter, because even Peoria might get a little tired in the third quarter. That's a trend that we've seen in almost every game is the second half. That's where it gets sloppy, so you never know what could happen.
These 2 programs coming into this game and coming into this season at very different points. Peoria won its first regional title under Michi Edwards last season. Bloomington has not registered a winning season in a couple of years now, and as Austin Myers was telling us before the game, they're on their 5th head coach in 5 seasons. Told us that he really wanted his team to come in and compete this season, have some fun. The old cliche, he said, but, when they've had all this turnover, all this turbulence, and now some of their best players not with the team because of some injuries, very unfortunate. You just want to come out and compete. They did so in the first quarter. In the second quarter, they've competed, sure, but Peoria has just come out of the gates very strong.
That's right, Joey, and every team has had to deal with a little turbulence, so to speak, this season, but I think Bloomington is kind of used to that from the last few years with the head coach turnover and such.
Lauren Strange for Bloomington, who Austin Myers had very high marks for when we spoke before the game, not with, or I shouldn't say not with the team, but not playing. A knee injury suffered against Danville. She'll play volleyball next year at Heartland Community College. But a possession like that, they could really use her contributions. Peoria forces the turnover, and here goes Tutt. Tutt, defense got out of the way there, but she couldn't convert. Rebound for Denali Craig Edwards, and free throws coming up.
She's hard to stop, Joey, and I think foul on somebody else. But either way, I mean, if it's not Craig coming down with Craig Edwards coming down with the rebound, it's going to be somebody else because she can use a lot of force and box everybody out. Probably more than one player.
Missed her first at the line, and that's really all you can hope to do, right? Is send her to the free throw line and maybe make her earn them. First was off. And the second in. So that's Paris Wilson, pardon me, at the free throw line, but still, nevertheless, that's best you can hope to do for Peoria. Send him to the line. Wilson, does she get to the line again? No, it's blocked. And off the mark, Bloomington will take over. They'll run it.
Oh, man. Trying to beat the Lions at their own game, and it didn't quite work out.
It was Guyton who got there for the Lions defense. Now to Tutt to the corner, and Jackson. And Jackson drives in. 2 free throws coming up for the freshman. And that foul will go against Maddie McSwain. That's going to be her second. And the third team foul for Bloomington.
That's another thing that they've got to be careful of, Joey. We talked about stamina. Well, foul trouble is another thing. Their starters played very well against the Lions bench, but now they're running out of gas a little bit. They're tired, but so they're going to have to rest, but you can't really afford any foul trouble because then they have to spend any extra time on the bench.
Second free throw off the mark, and Bloomington pulls in the rebound.
And all things considered, Joey, the Purple Raiders have done a good job of staying within striking distance. They've picked up a number of defensive stops, and they've kept the score at 33 for a few minutes.
Hilt down low, and she'll get that to fall. And really, Larry, going off that point, it's only a 14-point game. It's just still a couple stops away if you can, create some momentum on defense, take advantage on offense. This game's not over yet.
One possession at a time. Got to get a stop, and then a score, and then another stop and another score. Can't think too far ahead.
Got to build the house. Here's Tutt. Tutt will float it in. That's a big answer for Peoria.
Knock down the house.
Yeah.
No construction here.
Tutt floats it in, the senior guard, and that'll be a steal there from Jackson. And Jackson to Guyton. Aaliyah Guyton off the glass and in.
How quickly things change, Joey, right?
That's 12 for Guyton, indeed. Bloomington trying to answer on the offensive end. Floater, not quite. Rebound and a foul. And that'll be Jackson picking up the foul. We'll see who that will be at the line. It'll be Hilt. Hilt with 8 points, had a nice first quarter. Two big free throws, the first of which on the way, in and out.
Got to knock those down when you're playing a good team, Joe. You got to knock them down in any sort of game, but if you're the Purple Raiders playing an uphill battle today, you got to take advantage of the free ones.
Neither free throw in, out of bounds off Bloomington. Oh,
and
right.
There goes our microphone.
You heard that loud and clear.
Oh, man. The official's going to get it for us.
Look at
oh man. Clutch up.
Thank you. We can turn it back up now.
No,
How about
I did.
that? There we go. That's why we bring the mic.
Yes, yes indeed.
You heard that one loud and clear coming
yes.
at you. 3D sound.
Sorry to the fans at home who had the volumes cranked up. See something new every game.
Indeed. Barger there for Bloomington. And we'll see what the Purple Raiders offense can do here, Larry. You know, what kind of tempo they running with. You got about 2:10. Well, you can't run with much tempo if you don't have the ball. Off the glass, loose ball. Peoria comes away with it. And we can tell what tempo the Lions want to go with. Down low in Denali. Craig Edwards with contact. She'll go to the line for 2.
I thought she was going to get that to go, Joey. I would not have been surprised. Off-balance shot, but she was double-teamed, maybe even triple-teamed there, but she kept her composure.
It goes back to the point I made earlier, right? I mean, that's you make all the contact you want. A lot of times she'll still finish as she finishes the free throw there.
Shooter's touch.
Make her earn them at the stripe, and she's very capable of doing that. Second on the way and in. And a 20-point game for the first time today, 39-19.
Got out of hand quick, Joey. Obviously, a lot of basketball left. You don't know what could happen in the second half, but as we've said time and time again, the Lions' depth will probably be able to outpace the Raiders a little bit, especially in the second half. You know, if you really want to gain some separation, you just keep running that high-tempo pace, and that's how the Lions play.
Marley Davis missed the layup, but Marissa Hilt was there for the rebound. And her free throw on the way, and count it. Marissa Hilt, she missed 2 at the line a couple of moments ago. Bloomington is doing a better job of getting to the free throw line the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Joey, that's because they're penetrating the paint. You know, when you drive to the basket, good things happen if you're under control and are smart about it. Obviously, if you're flying there out of control, you're going to get called for charges and other sorts of fouls. But they've been getting to the basket, staying in the paint, and getting good looks as a result.
Peoria now. As we go to about the 92nd mark, they'll look for Craig Edwards. She passes up the 3, and Larry, now it looks like Peoria will slow it down a bit.
I think they will, Joey, and as we saw at the end of the first quarter, they held it for about a minute. I don't think they're going to hold it for this long, over a minute at the end of the quarter, but it's a good opportunity to run some half-court sets.
Guyton in the corner. Hilt will come out for the defense. And now it's Craig Edwards, the jab and the find. Now it's Guyton. Guyton, nice pass. Tutt coming in. She'll finish. Beautiful finish from Sanaya Tutt. Back to a 21-point lead.
Joey, Tutt is one of the best slashing guards that we see in the area. She's always driving to the basket. She can shoot, but she doesn't do it often. She's just so good at moving through traffic, using the Euro step, teardropper, what have you. She finds ways to score and creates her own shots.
We will swap basketballs here before the inbound pass. As it goes silent in this gym.
Man, no music, no nothing.
Playing 2K and we turn the audio off.
Yes.
Muted the TV.
We hope nobody has us muted. Although you're no Kevin Harlan. Pretty close, though.
Yeah, I'll do my best. Do what I can. 43 and 9/10 left. And Larry, it's just that stage of the game where it's stayed at about 20, kind of stagnated here for a couple of minutes. You think Peoria will hold for the final shot of the half?
I think they will, Joey. They've shown no hesitation to do so last quarter, and now looks like they're going to do it again. But you hear Michi Edwards, keep moving. So they're going to keep moving.
The offense, there is a lot of good movement here, and ball moving as well.
It's like they're running a shell drill in practice. When you don't shoot, you just pass the ball, keep running the plays, cycling through the offense.
Denali Craig Edwards will take the shot. It's off. Guyton the rebound. Can't finish it with contact, and the buzzer will sound as Bloomington can't get the shot off in time. Maddie McSwain caught the pass just a second too late. Wouldn't have countered either way. Her shot was off, and that takes us to halftime with Peoria ahead, 41-20.
Well, Joey, I think that kind of went as expected. First quarter, Bloomington played very well, and I think in the second quarter they ran out of gas a little bit. As soon as the Lions brought in their fresh legs, they started to, gain some separation, really pour it in. And so if you're the Raiders, I think you're really happy to see halftime come.
Certainly. What's the message for Austin Myers to his Bloomington Purple Raiders team in that halftime locker room? I mean, because the first quarter was, as you said, great might be even an understatement. They moved the ball, they hit big shots, they did what they needed to do. Kind of got away from them in the second quarter, though.
Well, Joey, I think the message is catch your breath and drink some water because we got to start running in the second half. And that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Michi Edwards' squad probably come out in the third quarter and push the pace once again as we're accustomed to seeing. But, with a 20-plus point lead, if they pick up a few more points on the Purple Raiders, I think things are going to start to slow down a little bit. So we'll see.
The Lions have not played a close one all year, closest game being a 65-48 winner against Moline to open the year. They're well on their way here this afternoon. We'll see how it plays out in the second half. We leave you for a couple of minutes at halftime with Peoria ahead of Bloomington, 41-20 on ClutchSportsIL.com. About a minute 45 left in halftime here. We are in the small gym at Peoria High School, the complex gym, as a Big 12 girls basketball matinee unfolds in front of us. Peoria leading Bloomington 41-20. Joey Wright with Larry Larson and Matt Harrington behind our camera. Larry, you know, we talked about this right before we took a break for halftime. It was a stellar first quarter for Bloomington. They entered the second quarter down 18-15, but really, I mean, looked good against a Peoria team that we expected to pull away a little bit. And in the second quarter, that then happened. The Lions, ranked third in the state of Illinois, went on a run, keyed largely by their bench. DeAmber Smith was the only starter on the floor for a little bit. And as such, it's 41-20 at halftime. What do you think needs to – and, you know, when we talk about what does Bloomington have to do to come back, really it's what does Peoria have to stop doing to let them back into the game?
Yeah, Joey, I would say it's all about the defensive stops, and on the flip side of that coin, it's all about the shot selection for Peoria. If the Lions get overconfident and they start jacking up deep threes, not, you know, making the extra pass, then, you know, that's going to leave the door open for the Purple Raiders.
Well, door open, maybe door closed if Denali Craig Edwards can keep knocking them in like that.
What I'm trying to say there is that's not a bad shot.
No,
whatsoever, because she knocks those down. That's just what she does. It's almost expected.
No, and I agree with that. You want to force them into those lower percentage looks. If they want to take threes, you know, it's live by the three, you die by the three, right? If they can live, then so be it.
They're thriving right now.
They are living large. Craig Edwards the rebound, and they'll tie that up so that arrow will stay with – nope, they'll call that a foul, pardon me. So that foul will go against Bloomington.
But, Joey, crunching the numbers, sorry to cut you off, from that second quarter, the Lions outscored the Purple Raiders 21-5. I mean, that's pretty good. That's what you do to win games. You start pulling away, keep your head down, keep scoring, keep getting stops, and that's what the Lions are even doing right now.
Three on the way from Tutt off the mark. And, yeah, you know, Bloomington, they've just got to go down, and it's cliche, but they got to get points on the board at some point. There's a travel down low from Francesca Smith.
That's the stuff that you don't like to see, Joe. You got to capitalize when you've got an open player down court. They found the open player, but I just thought too much about that one, I think.
44-20 now as the Lions get this possession underway. It's Aaliyah Guyton. Guyton guarded by Smith. And the corner and Tutt. Tutt with contact, can't quite get the finish. Larry, would you say that Bloomington's struggles in the second quarter were more, you know, because when you allow 21 points in a quarter, that's not good. When you only score 5 points, when you only score 5 points, that's really not good. You know, I mean, where is it bad offense leading to just a breakdown on defense? Is it, you know, I mean, kind of how do they relate to each other?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the mentality, Joey. When you start missing your shots, you can't get down on the defensive end, and I think that kind of affected Bloomington a little bit. They turned the ball over a lot, and that led to a lot of points for the Lions. So that knocked their confidence down. So when they did get a look on the offensive end, they weren't confident with it, and they certainly weren't confident on defense, where the Lions are just so good. And a lot of it had to do with stamina, too. Lions went to their bench, and they just kept running it, kept running.
Nice finish from Denali Craig Edwards. And Larry, we talked about that. While Peoria's bench was on the floor in that second quarter, it was largely Bloomington's starting five. Marley Davis can't quite haul that pass in. She was the only Purple Raider on the bench for a little bit that had started. Allison Ortiz came in her place. So Peoria has played, if I had to guess, about 10 players, right? 9 or 10, 11, whatever it is. And Bloomington has played, by my count, 6.
Yeah, and by my count as well. So 6 players and 6 against 10. That usually doesn't work out.
And 1, count it, for Jakaya Jordan. And Bloomington shorthanded a little bit. Injuries have gotten in the way. We've talked about Lauren Strange not on the floor, presumably for the rest of the season, knee injury against Danville. Denalia Pendleton out as well tonight for Bloomington. So and to start with their roster not incredibly deep numbers-wise to start with. So, and they were first couple games of the season, Larry. They were right in there, 2-1 entering this one. You know, when they were at full strength, and some things have just kind of gotten in the way for them.
Yeah, and looking at that Danville game, Danville, a very good program in the Big 12. You could argue probably the second best team, as you see the three from Paris Wilson. I think a lot happened in that game. We saw the score, we're like, oh boy, it was a blowout. But obviously we didn't know that Bloomington had their best player injured in that game, and that knocks you down a lot. So who knows what would have happened if they had Lauren Strange for that entire game.
Maddie McSwain on the offensive end for Bloomington, as you saw a second ago. And, you know, they faltered against Danville, lost that game. But then, you know, they had a little bit to prepare for this one. You know, they could think about it and formulate a game plan without Strange, without Pendleton. Out of bounds, right near the microphone again. And they looked, you know, they came out with a game plan. They executed it very well in the first quarter. Now it starts to slip away from them. But I still think this Bloomington team, when we get through the last 12 minutes of this game, and they maybe see a team that is not the third best team in the state of Illinois, it's still a team, I think, that's got the core and the nucleus to compete in some games in the Big 12.
I agree, Joey, because there are a lot of programs who are still working through some kinks, maybe rebuilding a little bit. And I think especially what we saw in the first quarter, I mean, we saw a lot of promise out of that team. They've got talent. They've got good athletes. I think, especially this year, it's tough to get going and get into the flow. And the Purple Raiders have had a even tougher job than most teams because, you know, losing a few players due to injury doesn't make things easy.
Certainly doesn't. Certainly doesn't. And then, you know, on top of that, everything we always talk about with the season, right? The shortened season, the crunch time, you know, you got to get all these games in, you know, yada, yada. The season. There you get a look at Austin Myers.
Getting a little animated in the huddle, Joe.
Is.
You missed he was dancing around, moving his feet. It's always fun to see coaches do that. But, hey, you know, he's into the game. He's engaged. And these games are used as learning experiences at the end of the day. You got about 5 minutes left in the third quarter and then some.
He's still going at it down there. Yeah, and, you know, they're not going to give up. Austin Myers told us he's as passionate as they come. It's his first season coaching the girls team here, first season with a girls basketball team. Has coached a number of boys basketball teams in the past. Fiery guy. He's not going to stop coaching. They won't stop playing. You never know what you can make happen. It's a Bloomington team and a Bloomington program that has had 5 head coaches in the last 5 years. So they're still searching for that consistency. They've had a couple of sub-500 seasons. And that'll be a tie-up. Arrow will stay with Bloomington. Last winning season for the Purple Raiders came in 2017-18. So
just a few years ago.
Our senior year of high school, for some context there.
Oh, shoot. No, that was a long time ago, I guess.
And they finished that season 16-13.
The years go by fast.
They certainly do. And dropping it in on the offensive end, Marley Davis for Bloomington. Davis, a sophomore, so she would have been in middle school.
Oh, man. You're making me feel old. Joey and I the same age for context.
Right, both juniors at Bradley.
How
Three
about
in the
that
corner.
look? I mean, that was a great pass.
It's a great stroke. Didn't quite fall.
Joey, how'd the Urbana High School girls team do your senior year?
They were okay. They were pretty good. Peoria, the interception. Chris Menig came in as the head coach our junior year of high school. That would have been 2016-17, and Ariel Scott transferred in and really sparked a renewed interest in that program. And then, of course, the scandal as Peoria on the offensive end. And finishing, how about that, is Paris Wilson.
Joey, I want to hear more about this scandal, but first, Paris Wilson in transition. That's just how the Lions play. They push the pace. 1 or 2 players get out in front of the defense. They've got a lot of good passers, and that pass really led to that bucket.
Paris Wilson has gotten to the free throw line a couple of times. She'll convert there. Having a nice game. Paris Wilson now with 7 for the Lions. So when the scandal.
It sounds very ominous.
Well, and it was well documented at the time. So when Ariel Scott and her sister transferred to Urbana to play, starting with that 2016-17 year, the short of it is took up residency in Champaign as was led to believe their house in Urbana was being built. And the IHSA caught wind of that. I guess something wasn't quite up to code, and that season was vacated. All of the wins for the Tigers team, and I think the IHSA got that wrong, but that's a separate deal. All of the wins from that season were vacated. The Urbana girls cross country team's regional title was vacated as well.
I've heard about this.
Yes.
Now I recall.
And I think as Bloomington and Barger is going to go the other way and drop it in, I think vacating wins is just it's probably the stupidest form of punishing a team or program you can get.
We got them going,
you
folks.
See that in college. You see that, I guess, in high school as well. Not a fan.
Fair enough. And I don't know. I've got a different philosophy on that. I mean, especially if you win some sort of title, you can't display it in the gym, and that's a big sense of pride. And that was a big argument with the Houston Astros, one of your favorite baseball teams, Joey. They said, well, a lot of people were saying, well, they got to vacate the wins and vacate the World Series title, and then that'll really show them. But I go back and forth.
I think it's tough because it just gets muddy. You know, you vacate. We'll use the Astros then as the example. You vacate that World Series. Well, then did the Dodgers win it? I mean, that's murky because no, they didn't. You know, but if the Astros didn't, who did? You know, and it causes a lot of problems.
Well, who won all those girls' basketball games then that Urbana played in that year?
Well, not Urbana, you know, but not the other team. So did they never happen? I mean, then you get into a bunch of really abstract concepts and, you know.
Philosophy.
So, I don't know. That was a good Urbana team, though, to answer your question.
What an answer it was.
Dropping it in is Denali Craig Edwards for the Lions. And Craig Edwards has been all over the place now with 15 for Peoria.
And, you know, we're talking about the IHSA there and how you thought you got it wrong. Speaking of getting things right with the IHSA, they've done a phenomenal job this year, in my opinion. And I just want to take a moment to say that they've done a great job, you know, putting pressure on the people that needed to be pressured to make these seasons happen, and then coming up with a schedule on the fly and figuring everything out. I mean, it was a challenge to say the least, and Craig Anderson and company have done a great job.
The misstep I alluded to, or a rare misstep.
Yes.
Don't get that wrong. The IHSA has done a phenomenal job with this season, and you know, navigating the pandemic as a whole. I mean, let's not forget how we got here. All the months of uncertainty leading up to it, they did their best, absolutely, and kept everyone in the loop. And you know, the fact that we are here playing basketball and what has been a pretty seamless basketball season. I know some teams have had to pause for obviously some things outside the IHSA's control, but with the COVID and all of that. But it has been a pretty seamless basketball season, all told. And, you know, obviously hope to get into football, then soccer, volleyball, baseball. It's going to be a fun spring for high school sports in Illinois. Yeah,
and every once in a while, you know, you got to leave the gym for sanitation processes, but hey, we'll take it. Wearing masks, you know, you can do whatever, play some basketball.
And I'll toss a word in to our officials. Nice basket there from McSwain for Bloomington. Matt and I talked about the Washington Pekin broadcast the other night. I thank the officials. I mean, because with all these games condensed into so many nights in a row, I mean, it's tough to find officials. It's tough to find officials who want to do it to start with. So the fact that our boys in stripes are out here, they're wearing their masks, they're making the calls, dealing with some parents now. It hasn't been a problem, of course, in this game, but you know, we see that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic rivalry.
A few different places are a little more passionate about the officials. We'll keep that to ourselves, but you know, it's a thankless job, and that's why I try not to criticize the officials, even if I disagree with the calls.
Oh, I never do.
Wow, that pass and that bucket would have been something if we saw that go. Back to the game a little bit.
We've gotten away from it a little bit. We'll get back to it as Paris Wilson's teardropper is off the mark. Here's Katie Barger. We saw her brother last night at Manual High School. She turns it over. Tutt drops it in off the glass. And it is a 62-31 lead for Peoria. Oh, and hitting the ground hard there is Tutt. She'll get back up. 3 on the way, just short of the mark for Bloomington.
And Joey, talking a little more about Tutt, you know, that basket we saw in transition, there she goes again, slashing her way, got knocked down, didn't make it that time, but somehow it seems like almost every time she finds her way through the defense.
Francesca Smith finds her way through the defense there with 4 points. Here's Guyton for Peoria. Larry, with 20 seconds left here, so it looks like Peoria will hold for the final shot.
Fair enough. Saw it at the end of the second quarter, saw it at the end of the first, to an extent at the end of the second. But Joey, it's good to hear good energy from the Bloomington bench despite being down so big.
4 seconds left, and Guyton on the way, short. Rebound Bloomington, and the clock will expire before Francesca Smith can get anything up. So that takes us to the fourth quarter of play. 62-33 lead for Peoria here at Peoria High School in Peoria, Illinois.
And we thank all our viewers for sticking with us on this Saturday afternoon matinee. Thanks to Matt Harrington on the tripod for us today, and our entire Clutch Sports media crew throughout the week for, you know, they've done a really nice job and hustled along with us. Joey, that brings me to next week. We've got a busy week coming up, don't we?
We do, and we'll take a look at that right now. Girls basketball really is a big theme of our schedule next week. We have a boys game on Wednesday, but Monday and Tuesday and Friday, that's right. But you know, it's girls basketball most of the week. Dunlap and Washington going at it on Monday night in Washington, a rematch of a game that was postponed earlier in the year because of COVID. So excited to see 2 good teams in the Mid-Illini going at it then. Girls basketball on Tuesday night, also in the Mid-Illini Conference. That game equally as interesting. Pekin having a good year. Metamora having a good year as well. I want to get a final score on the game they played against Morton. See if I can do that here in the fourth quarter, but that'll be a fun one Tuesday night. Both those games at 7 o'clock, as is the Wednesday game, a boys game against 2 Mid-Illini Conference rivals, Dunlap and Washington. You figure Washington might be a little bit of a favorite in that one, but Corky Card always has that Dunlap Eagles team ready to play.
He does, Joey.
That'll be
they've given a few very good teams some runs. Gabe Calhoun, a name that jumps off the page, lighting it up in his senior season. Those are the kids you're happy for, that there's basketball season this year.
Absolutely.
Jenna Beck as well, senior, checked into the game for Peoria High. Almost got the block there.
But a nice finish from Marley Davis, and Bloomington was in a position there to force the turnover. Out of bounds it goes, and that will stay. Or no, it will go towards Bloomington. If you're just joining us, it was 18-15 entering the second quarter before Peoria pulled away. Peoria led after the first quarter before they pulled away in the second. What was that, a 21-5 run in the second quarter?
It was indeed.
They were able
and that'll do it, you know, especially with a good team like Peoria High, Joey. If I had a vote in the AP poll, I'd put them higher than number 3.
That was a big conversation.
It was. We got a tweet. Somebody said, I think they should be number 1. I don't necessarily disagree. They have dominated every team that they have played, and today is no exception. In case you haven't seen this Lions squad, this is the routine for them. This is no exception on their schedule. They have just ran every single team out of the gym. It has not been close.
Well, and we meant, you know, it sounded like a broken record, but I'll mention again, their closest game this season, 65-48 against Moline. That was the first game of the year. I mean,
and they played a close first half and then pulled away in the second half. So, and that's kind of a similar tune to this game.
They then played a good Richwoods team, and you know, Richwoods lost a lot from last season, but you know, nevertheless, you always expect a good game from Todd Hersey and his Richwoods Knights program. And they caught that Richwoods team in its first game of the year, but nevertheless, I mean, any of the 6 challengers that have come the Lions' way, they have dispatched with a relative ease, or at least they've made it look easy when you look at the final box.
Yeah, Joey, and I'm really excited to watch them next year when there's a state series. And it's frustrating that there isn't one this year, but again, we talked about it earlier. Basketball is basketball. There's going to be a conference tournament when it's all said and done, so that'll be cool for all the teams involved. But, I mean, looking at the roster, this team's only losing a few big-minute players. And they're all, most of the starting lineup, Guyton, Smith, Craig Edwards, Paris Wilson, Miracle Thomas. All those players are coming back next year, and that's the vast majority of your starting lineup.
Timeout called by Bloomington. And yeah, it's a bright future for this Lions team.
And on the other side of things, Joey, once the Purple Raiders start to settle in, hopefully this year they'll have Austin Myers come around again next year. You don't have another head coach, and things start to settle in. And once a coach is at a program for a few years, then you can really build up a culture, build up expectations for the program. That's what we've seen at a number of schools around the area. And in your conversation with Austin Myers, seems like a guy who's very passionate, so I'm sure that Purple Raiders are going to be in good hands.
Nice 3 from Jenna Beck. And Larry, I got exactly that vibe from Austin Myers. We chatted for about 20 minutes before the game. It was a good conversation. And I get the vibe that this Bloomington Purple Raiders program is going to start trending in the right direction. They've had an off day here, but they've competed in games this year. The Danville game even a little closer than I think advertised when you look at the final score of that one. Austin Myers, he's trying to right the ship, right? I mean, all the coaching turbulence and all the turnover, it's tough because you get to be a senior on your 4th or 5th head coach. You haven't got.
It's tough. You have no idea what to expect.
You can't take a lot from one season to the next a lot of times. Some coaching changes are different, of course, if you've got like an assistant, but it's been tough. It's been tough for the players, and I think now we'll see the Purple Raiders program start moving in the right direction. More stability.
We see a timeout from the Purple Raiders.
And this will be...
Will it serve as the masked timeout?
I think it will.
I don't know. I don't know if they do that at the high school level. I know they do that at the college level. The coach takes a timeout. They say, okay, this is the media timeout.
Never saw indicated, though, whether it was a full or 30. Looks like it will be a full.
Well, we'll find out, I guess.
It's pretty quiet in here.
It is pretty quiet in here.
Indeed it is. 4:55 to play.
Probably too much of a hike for one day. Had to take the headset off there.
Yeah.
Chatting with A.J. Guyton a little bit.
He's been listening. It's not very loud in here, so I'm sure he has been listening
no
to
kidding.
us the whole game.
I bet everybody has been.
Yeah.
Hope
TV.
Hope we're not in any trouble with the IHSA.
I hope not, too. I noticed that earlier.
Oh, man.
Well, and as I said, I very rare. You know me. I'm not overly critical.
Yeah,
I don't criticize the refs.
No need to rehash it.
Rarely criticize, but when you get into vacating wins, we will rehash it a little bit. How about it? Not a fan whatsoever.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Boy, here we go. Fair enough. It's a fair opinion to have. Joey, check out Michi Edwards on the sideline. This game is well decided, in my opinion, although the Raiders have battled back in these last few minutes.
Go ahead.
He's still animated. He's still coaching.
Well, it's what we talk. It's what we've talked about all season. You use these games as practices, essentially, and I hate to use that term. Michi Edwards did not get the timeout in there. Jump ball coming up. You use these, because neither of these teams know when their next game's going to be, right? You've got games scheduled, but we've seen the coronavirus. It can impact teams. It can, so you don't know when that next game's going to be. You use these last couple minutes if the game isn't so close as essentially not scrimmages, but not practice situations, but you know what I'm saying, against game
Yes,
opponents.
100%.
You go through it and you see what wrinkles you can add to your offense or defense to maybe make it tough for your opponent the next time out.
There's nothing like game reps, and
No.
that's the bottom line.
And they're more, you put more of a premium on them this year because, again, you don't know when that next game's going to be. You don't know when the next time you're going to hit the floor is.
Yeah, you can't
So-
take anything for granted, especially this year, because you could have a positive COVID test that could mess you up. You could have another team have a positive COVID test, and you could have extra time off. So you just never know.
And we've seen that. We've seen that with, heck, the game we're doing on Monday, Washington Dunlap, that was supposed to be played earlier this year. They've moved the schedules around. Hilt for Bloomington couldn't put it in. Take a look ahead at what these teams have coming up in a minute. Nice finish there from Gordon. I believe that was for Peoria, pardon me.
Hello.
And airmailed. Good thing our mic's not over there. That might have taken it.
Oh, let me tell you, that microphone has been the star of the show today. Seen a lot of action. You placed it in a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that official did.
When the official put it back up, he angled it upwards a little bit. It was more, and it was on the.
Gets a little ambiance.
Yeah.
You know?
It was below. It was not on that bleacher when it was placed there. I put it on the floor there. It's now on the bleacher and picking up some good Nat sound for us. Miracle Thomas picks up the foul. We can hear Michi Edwards calling it out. There's a look at our microphone. Matt Harrington on the shot for us. And yeah, folks, when I put it there, we pan away from it now, but I put it one level lower on the floor, and I thought it was going to be safe there, but it wasn't sheltered from the ball in the first quarter when the ball came over there.
Ball magnet.
Took care of it.
That's how it goes, right?
But how about the official? That was so kind of him to put it
back.
back.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I figured, well, there goes our mic for the rest of the half. But once again, credit to the officials. Always thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we couldn't have gotten down there to adjust it easily because we've got our scoreboard camera that I knocked off kilter when we had to leave the gym for the sanitation timeout before the game. It's very finicky.
Joey, let me tell you, we might have to add that mic adjustment to our highlight reel at the end of the game. Makes Twitter.
I think so.
Somebody get that official's name.
A well-called game, and again, we'll thank the officials. Because this has been a very good game. Not that I would criticize them or you would criticize them if it was not, as we hit on earlier. But the officials this season in the IHSA, it's a tough job with the pandemic making it tougher, and we have not only today but in all the games we've been at, they've been very well officiated. You can tell that the officials we've seen, they want to be out here for the IHSA this season.
And they're going the extra mile too, Joey. I don't think they have to wear masks. I think they're the only people on the floor who don't have to wear masks, and almost all of them that we've seen have. So, credit to them going the extra mile too, and we see those creative-looking masks with the whistles built into it.
Yep.
So
the official that replaced our microphone is wearing one of those today. Where do you get one of those made?
we might have to make one ourselves.
They're like a referee surplus shop because it's a. You know what I'm saying?
RefereeSurplus.com.
Yeah, you can't just go into a store and buy that.
Officialsoutlet.net.
Francesca Smith for Bloomington. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be good for our headsets, I think is what you were getting at.
Yeah, we saw Andy Reid, head coach in the NFL, of course, for the Kansas City Chiefs. He put his little mic underneath his mask.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that I'd like that very much, but maybe we'll have to try it.
I was telling Matt Harrington and John Michael, we were driving out to Pekin the other night for that game. I think if I was a coach, I'd welcome the mask, especially if I was a football coach. Then you don't have to hide it with your face with the play card.
Well, it's funny because you saw so many coaches wearing the mask and still hiding the play card, or hiding their mouth with the play card, that is.
Yeah, I Can't say that I would do that myself. Anyways, we'll take a look at the road ahead for both teams, Bloomington and Peoria. And taking a look at what Bloomington has on deck, they have Urbana on the road on the 23rd, Bloomington Central Catholic on the 26th, and Normal West on the 27th. Peoria, Normal Community, PND, and Manual on deck for the Lions. So what's coming up for both teams. Spratling will drop it in for the Lions here as we go to about 90 seconds left in regulation. Intercepted by Beck. And up to Amia Gordon. Gordon, good defense there late from Hilt. As Barger will take it up for the Purple Raiders.
Got to credit Bloomington, Joey. They've played hard the whole entire game, even when it's gotten a little out of reach here in the second half. They've kept trying. As you see there, nice shot from Davis.
Marley Davis, the sophomore, drops it in. Davis will be a key part of this Purple Raiders program for a couple of years to come now. And there's great effort from Barger. Forces the turnover, and here go the Raiders. Francesca Smith will stop and pop. Drops it in. She's up to 8. Leading scorer for Bloomington is going to finish as Marissa Hilt. She's got 17. No one else is close. We'll see if she tacks on one more. Doesn't look immediately that she will, though, as Peoria is going to hold on to it, run out the clock.
Well, Joey, as the Lions move to 7-0, ranked 3rd in the state, it's a pretty standard outing for them, as we've said. And Bloomington, I think you take away a lot of positives from this one, especially in that first quarter.
I agree.
I think if they've got a little more depth, they could run the Lions into the second half with a close game. So a good effort on both sides. And obviously when you play a top 3 team in the state without your best player, you're banged up, you've only got 6 players available, you kind of got to take things with an asterisk. So huge credit to the Purple Raiders for fighting until the very end.
71-48 final score. Lions come out on top, and Larry, the Purple Raiders really stayed the course, as you said. They put up a great fight. But how about this Peoria Lions team? Night in, night out. I mean, they continue to impress, no matter who they play.
Yeah. They probably start their bench team and win a lot of games, or win a lot of these games that they've won. So it really is impressive. Their depth, among other things, their starting 5 is phenomenal. So if this year we had a state series, we'd see them going deep, I would say.
I would think we would, and they will be a factor in the Big 12 tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. But they come away, to say the least. You've got to figure they would be the heavy favorites to win it. But that's where we will leave it for today. For our whole crew, Matt Harrington, Larry Larson, I am Joey Wright. It is a 71-48 win for the Peoria Lions over the Bloomington Purple Raiders. Join us on Monday night as the Dunlap Eagles go to Washington to take on the Washington Panthers. Girls basketball starting at 7 o'clock on ClutchSportsIL.com. Stay safe, everybody.